Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Tukyagenda maaso n'okulaba nga tutunuulira ensonga ya mental health, okulaba nti obwongo bwaffe buli mu mbeera eyeeyagaza. Tunnyonnyolera tugamba nti bwe twogera ku mental health, mundange tetutegeeza nti olina obuzibu, wabula kwe kulaba nti oli mu mbeera eyeeyagaza oba oli bulungi. Naye ate bwe bakunyigiriza ennyo oluusi otuuka n'ova mu mbeera kyekyo tulina nti bane bamunyigiriza ennyiro bw'oginyigiriza ennyo ereeta omusaayi, so bamunyigiriza nnyo okutuuka ku ekyo kyatasobola kuhandolinga, oluusi n'avaako oba oluusi neyeeyisa mu mbeera oba oli awo etategeerekeka. Nti ekintu kino kituukawo nnyo tosobola kwata ku bwongo noga nti obwongo mbukutteko buno bunnuma nnyo. Naye moods ezo zikyuka. We have people abalina mood swings. Tulinamu abantu abakyayina ensonga ez'abatawanyanga abaana bato nga bazikuliddemu, abamu ne batahiiringa, abamu ne batafuna therapies ez'okulaba nti bayambibwa. So we are using this platform okulaba nti tukutuukako gwe gy'oli omanye embeera mw'oli. Nga bw'atunnyonnyodde musawo yaffe esoose nti mulimu abantu abalina ekikula nga ye bw'okola ekintu ekimu ate kimuggyako. Mulimu abantu nga ekikula kye tayagala muleekaanira oba tayagala kubeera wantu wawoggana. Mulimu abantu nga tayagala muntu, like tayagala muntu ayomba. Kwegamba it's about understanding our personalities. Ono omuntu ali ate, ono omuntu ekikula kye kiri kitya. If we get to understand that, tujja kusobola okulaba ntubeera mu society nga ate tetunyigiriza balala naye nga ate n'abantu abo tebatunyigiriza. Tuli ku nsonga za mental health. How do we go about all these issues? Because bw'owuliriza mu kunnyonnyola kwe ebintu ebimu biva mu mbeera mwe tubeera, mu communities mwe tuwangalira, mu societies mwe tuwangalira. But how do we go about these things? Mu break tulina ekintu kye twogeddeko katono nnyo of letting go. Nti omuntu ayinza okunyiiza noga okay, sagala kuyomba naye you just let go. But as you let go, there is a lot that piles up in your head. There is a lot that builds up. Newe sanga go breaking it down just there and then without you realizing that. So it's mental health that we are talking about today. Era tugenda kuba tutunuulira amateeka agetaaga okuba nga gateekebwa mu nkola eri government okulaba nti ensonga ya mental health ate nayo tugikabinga. But nga tugenda maaso ne discussion yaffe eno ey'olunaku olwaleero nga bw'oli expert oba nga bw'oli omusawo omukugu mu ndwadde ezitawaanya obwongo, olwo tutandikidde ku mitendera ky'okumanya nti omuntu ono waliwo ekitali kituufu mu mbeera ze ez'obwongo, stages ezo.
Okay. So mu kutandika twayogedde ku bireetera. Then tulina ebika eby'endwadde z'obwongo.
Otyo?
Ebyo ebika byanjawulo lwakuba nti abantu tutegedde nnyo ebika tutegedde nnyo depression. It's out there. Depression, anxiety. Stress is not a mental disorder.
Hey. Tujisibayo busibi. I'm stressed ke kagamba akali kenakozi.
It's a cause.
Okay.
It's a cause. It can be an underlying cause, but it's not a mental disorder.
Okay.
So mental disorder tuyina ze tuita mood disorders. Ngenda gezaako okubimenya mangu such that nsabola okudamu ekibuuza. Tuyina kye tuita disorders eza mood disorders. Endwadde eza embeera mood. Nti olaba omuntu kati ali leero musanyufu, the following minute munyivu. Mwezo tulinamu depression. Depression mu Luganda ekigambo oba kyekyo okunyikavu that. Yes. Depression. Yes. Then tulina ne kye tuyita mania.
Okay.
Kachova twagala tutandike bino ebintu obiga. Such that omanya omuntu gw'odiringa naye ali mu kiki kyalimu kubanga buli kyonna kyabalimu kikuwa enzijanjaba kikuwa engeri gy'omukwatamu okitegeera engeri gy'omukwatamu nga bwe tugamba nti omuntu waba wa musujja bwoti bw'okola waba wa sukaali tokola bwoti waba wa pressure.
Yes.
So nemuzi n'endwadde z'obwongo mpulira nga nandyagadde nga buli session omwamanyi bikaaki era omuntu like ndwadde kyezo era tumanya nti kati bwe buno bulwadde. So mwezi ezambundu nga tulina depression, tulina mania, tulina negatta gye tuyita bipolar nti omuntu abeera nga byonna birina omulundi ogwo.
Alina mania
ne depression. So depression kwe kubeera nga omuntu ali to the lowest of themselves. To the lowest. Yes. Then mania, it's someone being at the top.
Otyo. Nga
ina vibe je Twitter vibe.
Oh, but behind the vibe there is something. Wachata yogero wachata.
Nga aina yenge je tuyinza okubyawula muti abeera hyper buli kimu kiba waggulu ennyo ye muntu bwaba mwana asobola okusombera ebidomola by'amazzi the whole day nga takowa. Like they are hyperactive yet atula wa mutasobola taterera. They are very restless, like they're one thing after the other.
Akola chiri.
If he's a man, the libido is so high, and of course, no wonder nowadays we have a lot of like rape cases and all that. Of course, I'm not saying that bonaba bikola baba barade, but also that can lead to that. Yeah. Then tuina the bipolar nti omuntu yaba kati zombi nga azina
ngali waggulu ne wansi
ngabera waggulu ne wansi okanya kugamba ne ono leero musanyi fencha simusanyi leero musanyi fencha simusanyi. They are operating both of them. But of course, you can't diagnose. So sobola gamba nti ekyo, of course not until it's established by the medical workers that kati alimu ekyo. Yeah. Yes. Then tuina, I've talked about the personality traits. Yes. Tuina. Then we have the personality disorders. Ngazoza katinga omuntu wava mu personality nebelanga taken to the extreme. They get those disorders. Zetwogedde waba anxious personality ajafuna anxiety, waba obsessive,
restless,
like they can get the disorders. Then tuina sleep ezo tulo disorders za sleep. Yeah, bano abogera nga beba sleep talking, ba sleep walking, like yeba se naye atambula. Like someone is in their sleep naye agenze ne mu nnimiro.
Nenga yebase.
We have night terrors, nightmares, ababalote birote byamaanyi nnyo, like those things. All those are sleep disorders. That insomnia, I think, and sometimes it really hurts me abantu zino mental issues okuzimaking a fun. Someone can be like, I just have a bit of insomnia, like just
kwogera na mu lulimi olulungi
thank
olusanyu.
you. And I just ninamka insomnia sebaka. And then in my head I'm like, and you're thinking that is cool, like it's fun that you have insomnia.
Ebigambo by'oluzungu byebituwa amaanyi.
I'm just stressed. I'm just depressed. I'm just having a low mood, and yet it's too big. So tuyina ezo disorders otulo. Tuyina, of course, drug and substance disorders. Nazo tuzina ezo gye ziri nnyingi. Tuyina ze tuyita kati ngenda kukozesa kino ekigambo kati psychosis. I think we've had people say onali psychotic. So psycho, thank you. That is the word that you people use.
Ono psycho embera zitezitegere kali weird.
Psycho, you use the word weirdo and psycho.
Yes.
That person is in a very bad shape.
Psycho,
that is a very disorder. It's not a personality. It's a disorder. That oyo muntu ayina, one of the disorders that we know mulimu schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, okay, ye mutu okubanga ayina ze twita psychotic features, hallucinations bye bino mpulira amaloboozi,
ndabe ebintu,
like muli emmere yemu gwe n'owulira nga testinga bulala ye n'awuliramu birala, awulira ebintu bimutambula omubiri, like that is the hallucinations.
Yes.
Tuyina delusions. If you've been around school children, basobola okugamba no yepanka kati bo bakuyita kwepanka. If one of them comes and keeps bragging, fe tuli wetuti, fe era kino, era nze ne president mumanyi, era nze ndi mama wange sima muganda wagundi, like those kinds of things.
Yes.
Ninga si bituufu. Kati mama mugambo yo yesoma nnyo. Yesoma nnyo, but yet it's a delusion, like some of them it can
be. No, okay, not in that manner, but of course, tanga president
you're having a like it's kind of they're fantasizing, but they're having delusions, and we have different delusions. Ne paranoid personality.
Yes.
Someone can be that kind of person, but the delusions, delusions is a jealousy kati bogenda mbafumbo bo. They can experience that in omwagarawe. Aina obujja. So in your head you might think bujja wa bulijjo, yet it's more than that. We have like different delusions, of course, the grandiose and all that. So I think those are some of the things that I can break down. We have the anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorders, mulimu panic, phobia, omuntu akugamba nze ntya heights, oba ntya ebiwuka, oba ntya amazzi, oba all those phobias. We have, of course, anxiety, general. We have so many of them. I might not go into them. So, ebyo byonna bw'omanya, kyekiri kye nakugamba, it's very important okumanya omuntu. It's just because we don't get into depth. I feel like, okay, we want the government to come and like I personally, I want it to come on board. But I feel like before the government comes, what have I done as an individual? Like kiki kye nkoze okulaba nga neteeka mumbeera etanteeka mu katyabaga. I don't know whether I'm making sense. So waliwo ebintu ebiri basic ebintu nga okwemanya. The theme is invest in your mind like you do for your money. It's just unfortunate nti ennaku zino tetwagala kwemanya. Nti omuntu ne bw'akubuuza gwani, you don't know.
I am a complicated person.
Thank you. As simple as that.
Naye tategedde complicated mu mbeera ki?
Abantu abagaba emirimu, I feel like they get a hard time asking that question. Okubuuza omuntu gwani. Ofuna omuntu ngali 30 years, 40 years, 25, like they're adults, but they can't tell you who they are. You ask them what are your weaknesses and your strengths. They don't know. So how will you know? Abamu balimba. No, it's just because sometimes some of them really don't know. You know why we don't know? Because we keep always running away from our minds. Bulkasera, you want a distraction. You don't want this is the best the best distraction we can ever have. Nti tosobola kutuula awo wekka bw'oti.
obeera olowooze
not even for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's
without
hard.
being on phone.
You either use that, like you want to be distracted.
You want to see something.
You want to be,
Your mind is busy.
you want to be busy onto something.
Yes.
But not being busy like you're internalizing yourself. You want, oyagala kumanya emotions, chizowulira ngeri kijjozi respondingako. Nti tetulina obwo obudde, not even going through our days kugamba bwe nabadde ku mulimo bigambo ki bye nayogedde
Era ani gwe nanyiiziza.
era not even ani gwe nanyiiziza, but you trying to evaluate yourself.
The day ogiyiseemu otya.
Ogiyiseemu otya, wawo wopangulukuse, wawo wobadde, like tetulina obwo obudde. And how are we going to invest in these minds when we don't give time? Yensonga ki ojja kulaba abantu abagenda mu therapies or in for mental health sessions bajja kugamba start journaling, do deep reflection,
Meditate.
Exercise, and then you're thinking obudde bwemala nga ndi out trying to meditate. You know, like why we don't, most of the reasons why we don't want, it's because tuyise ebintu bingi.
Era mbadde nga nzijewaawo ku meditation because I've practiced that. And then mba nkya meditating nga obwongo butambudde buzeeyo. Gye mbujja gye budda.
Gy'obujja ze bujja kati ekyo tetukyagala.
Ate ekyo sikyakati awo nendaba mu firimu.
So now you get onto a distraction. So we keep getting distracted kati golaba mu firimu. Kati waliwo omulala nga ye the drug would be a quick option.
Yes.
Waliwo abantu nga bamanya nti tagenda kuba busy ajja nakwangu okuba n'ekiragalalagala awo mangu such that in case they have nothing to do. They have a distraction. So literally we want to live in we want to live in a masked life. Like you masking who you are all the time. You even yourself, you don't want to get in touch with who you are. And how do you expect someone else, your boss, your smart fiance, husband, and all, like your brother, your sister, to handle you? Nga nawe tewesobola.
Abamu tulwawo n'okumanya nti tetwesobola.
That's a challenge. So I feel like the work is in us. Of course, I'll ask the government to come. But before the government comes, the work is in us. I've already said that I have a lot of passion for families.
Yes.
Yesterday I was talking to someone, nemugamba nti ebizibu byonna bye tulina mu nsi eno. Kale ebintu byonna, the good and the bad, biva mu families. The good and the bad, biva mu families.
I agree with you.
And I remember one time pinning my mom, nga mugamba, oshimanyi nti nawe otandise okwetegeera nga tukuze, something like that.
Yes?
You get it?
Yeah.
Because you be a parent, nga nawe tewemanyi, you have a husband, naye tomumanyi, you get children. Before you try to know the husband, the children come in.
Yes.
Now you go now to the children. Like nawe tewemanyi, kati ozze ku baana. You get it? So by the time you go back to know yourself, ng'already oli walookinga. Yensonga lwaki bagamba oyigiriza omuntu omukulu kizibu. Yeah?
Yes.
So kati family nebanga omuzadde waba kukuzanga ali broken, because some of our parents have come from broken backgrounds.
Yes.
Bwabanga ali broken, how different do you think it's going to be for you?
Gomwana.
How different do you think? All the traumas is a item, they will always reflect on you, because she didn't heal through them. They were not addressed. If she grew
does
up,
that parent okay, if it's a mother, do they transfer to the babies ng'akyali mu lubuto? Ago neyo gy'ayiseemu, ennaku gy'ayiseemu.
the transfer tebeera mu lubuto, eyinza obutabeera mu lubuto, but it can be physical. Bw'aba yakula nga bamubogolera, do you think it will be very different? Okujjako nga yeeterezeza yekozeemu omulimu, naye ajja kubogolera, and it will not come off like akyenjoyinga, but because it was the experience, the upbringing. That's why in the causes twayogeddeko upbringing. Bw'aba yakula mu kifo nga the place is disorderly, like he doesn't have order, do you expect that person to have order unless they tried to do a work on themselves? Okitegeera, bw'aba yakula mu family eri manipulative, toxic. Do you expect anything different? I think it's this is seen so much in ku mirimu abantu basobola okwekweka okumaskinga ne tutabamanya nnyo. But if you start relating with a person like relationship, or now the husband and wives can tell us better. They get the raw form of that person.
Yes.
That toxic behaviors.
Aina byayisemu ne byayize jesali
healing. And that's why we are saying invest in your mind, because back then we used not to invest to know what is it that I need to heal from, what is it that I need to do better, what are my triggers, what are the things that make me better, and I would shock you further that even nowadays you can ask someone, what are your hobbies? And they need to get like 5 minutes or 0 words. They don't know. They don't have. Do you know how bad that is? When you don't have like something that you like doing? Jebali.
Oba abamu nga tamanyi balina okumukwata ku mukono bakimuleetere atuuke wagamba ate kati kino nkyagala.
Oli obajja kugamba nti okay, I like swimming. Swimming is my hobby. Ombuuze, when is the last time you went swimming? They don't remember. So that is not your hobby. Ninga kyogamba kyoyagala kyekikusanyusa.
Yes, I get it.
Someone will tell you, I've heard people say that my children are my hobby. Your children cannot be your hobby.
Mwagala nnyo okubalaba awo nga basanyufu.
That is not your hobby. Like hobbies, like we need, these are the things that can really boost our mental health before the government comes in. These are the things that we need to do for us. Find a hobby, like do something that really makes you happy. That even when you've been through stressful events, at least you know that maybe I'll get an hour in that day and do something that I really like.
Earlier on, you hinted on broken families and people who are coming from broken families. How do those people heal? Like past traumas ezo omuntu azihealinga katya? Because tuli mu society kati saawa zino n'abantu abalina ebiwundu ebivudde obuto. Akuza either muzadde we yali mukambwe nnyo oba ewaka baali bamukuba oba bazadde be baali balwanagana and everything. How best do you advise this person to heal? Oba omuntu ono ahealinga atya mu mbeera eyo? Because owuliriza discussions ez'enjawulo oziwulira nga ziddayo emabega ku kyeyitamu nga muto, oba obuto bwaffe buno bushapinga butya obukulu bwe tuli?
Okay, kanzireyo ku personality nayogedde ku kikula ky'omuntu. Ekikula kyaffe kifoomingibwa of course society, the different exposures and the experiences we go through nga tukula. Yensonga lwaki omuzadde asobola okugamba ono omwana yali musirise naye kati mwewuunya okuba nga ayogera. The personality now is being formed and formed and formed and formed.
Ekoma ku myaka emeka okukyuka?
Nyinza ogamba terinaako myaka. Even like now, whichever kind of personality you have, if you do a very deep evaluation, you can start adopting another personality.
Really?
Yeah.
Ne bw'aba awezezza emyaka 4 oba 5 era asobola okukyuka n'afuna personality endala?
They are, okay, let me give an example. We can adopt different personalities depending mu environment. Kyova omuntu ajja kugamba nti nze I carry different personalities to different places.
Bwembeera wano mbono bwentuuka wano ate nembeera bwenti.
Okitegeera? I'll give an example. I'm going to relate to myself. I have an obsessive personality. And I realized that I'm so obsessed with order, like clean things, like things put
everything
together, like you don't turn my phone like OCD. This, that. I have that kind of thing.
Yes.
That I reached a time nekintawaanya nnyo nga ne bwemba neebase nenjijukira nti ekikopo mu kiyungu nakitaddewo kitalina kubeera ne bwezibasaawa musango ogw'ekiro nja kuzuukuka ngene ekiteekewo kirina okubeera.
Yes.
It was so bad for me. Like it was really so bad. Nti ne bwe mba njaze obuliri. Oh God. Mbasagana. So it was really so bad. Yes. But katijukira oli bwotyo. Now there are some people that are carefree. oba ekikopo akitaddewa oba kadde wamati kali katya oba akato mu ntebe kali katya oba brangiti etunudde etya like they don't care. So just imagine you in the same room with that kind of person. Like
ojana kunyigira bwerere.
Thank you. Not even kunyiga. Now what happens? Like mentally you get disturbed. Like it is so bad. I'm telling out of experience. It is so bad that you feel like something is really not right. But this is what happened. So I realized that not that everyone is that.
Yes.
And yet thank you.
They start complaining on what, but that is your personality.
Not that everyone is like that. So how am I going to adopt? So I started training my mind that actually it's okay to mutebo kwera ante kali straight okwera ante kaina
atoka iteko
webake okay ragire so
yeah.
Like it was painfully netandika okubanga ngezaako kyekolera nze mwennyini nga ngenda nakato nekasuula wansi kigezeeko ndabe nti kati omulala waba akikoze, can I try to adopt, like can I try to be okay with it? So I tried to train my mind actually it's okay to sleep ng'ebintu biddugala. It's okay to sleep nga nebe nalinga neba kange suka zange saga zefunye. Just imagine you sleeping
nebakira ku position eno bweti wana wasigalenga wayonja
like wasigalenga wali in order
nga wali neat.
So I try to train my mind. So what I mean that these personalities we just train ourselves to adopt because already it's part of you. These personalities are part of you, but you can evolve through them and learn how to deal with them and learn how to handle them. I think that's what I can say. Okay. So at any age you can of course adopt another personality, but that doesn't mean they're completely everyday dala. They can be suppressed sometimes.
Okay.
And then to in check actually psychology chetuita the defense mechanisms over I think I can call it okwewolereza.
Yes.
To omuntu nanga sakoze kino lwakuba kino. Sakoze kino lwakuba kino.
Annyonnyola nnyo.
Sakoze kino lwakuba kino. They
don't want yandetedde obutakikola bwe yayogedde bwati ne bwati ate ne sikikola.
Yes. So wagambe the upbringing abantu abayise in toxic families that are traumatized and all that ne batuuka mbukula olumu bivaayo. Omanyi lwaki bivaayo? Kubanga wakula obisuppressinga. So suppression is a defense mechanism. You suppressing.
Just let go.
Buli kye bakubako. Nze nsirika. You can't talk about it, you can't share with anyone, you just
keep quiet.
Yes. And nowadays we use the word letting go, but we don't even know what letting go is. But let me tell you. Thank you. You don't just question you. It doesn't work like that. It's just a word, but there is a lot of actions that have to back it up for you to be actually, I really let go. Okay. So to answer your question, it is important we should invest in us, like we should get time for us. Investing, ngabona gama nti njagala business kantandika okusavinga oba let me get on a course for business. That's why therapists are here.
Okay.
That's why we ask you to get hobbies. That's why we ask you to find people that you can talk to. That's why we ask you to journal, yeah? That's why we ask you to really like assess your mind. There are so many things that you can do.
But in Africa, we don't have that habit of journaling. It's something that is actually growing.
Yeah.
Katisawa zina, of course, for someone to sit down and write, I'll use myself as an example. One time I tried writing those things. Kati nentuuka mu kkubo nga bwe nzirayo ne mbisoma binyiiza.
And exactly that is what you are. Kati olaba ekyo nga bw'owandiika. Nga bw'okiwandiika. It is like you're releasing it. You see like how we talk about things. It's like you're releasing. Ne bw'ogenda maybe for a therapy session, a counselor. Sometimes ayina nnyo by'amaanyi by'agenda kugamba. But you pouring out. You crying if you need to cry. You laughing if you need to laugh.
Yes.
That is already enough treatment for you. Asobola n'okugamba kati wandiika buli ekikunyiiza oba muganda we yakunyiiza kiwandiike. And then you write. After they will ask you, how do you feel? Actually, I feel much better. like gwa byewandiikidde.
Yes.
So bw'ogamba mu Africa tetulina muze journaling and all that, bingi bye tutalina nno. Meanwhile kubanga olaba tukula in families eziri busy. Families bw'otunuulirako mu nsi z'ebweru buli mwana abeera treated a certain way, like they pay attention, ono ayagala kino, ono ayagala kino.
n'obutabo naye ng'ate muntu mukulu.
Naffe wano ebyo tetubirina. Omuzadde alina abaana 7. Alina onoonya ekyokulya, alina okukola ki. That's already a lot of work for that parent. Kati okutandika okuwa obudde amanye Irene kikyayagala, gift kikyayagala, Allen kikyayagala. Like sometimes bambi obasaasira, though we ask them to really do that. So it is so happens that omuntu bw'okula nga tofunye that kind of treatment of expressing yourself. That's why some of us end up expressing to the wrong people, or we end up in relationships with what was the Twitter attachment? Tukula na attachment says there is an anxious attachment or an avoidant. Nti omwana yakula nga bw'akaaba bamuhaginga.
Yes.
Oyo mwana wanjawulo. Omwana yakula nga bw'akaaba bamugamba sirika.
Genda kabireri.
Oyo naye wanjawulo. Kati if you're relating with those two people, those are different kinds of people. Kati ono gwe basirisanga sirika. You will not have that person open up like this one gwe bawambatiranga.
Yes.
Do you get the difference? Yes. So that is all upbringing. But that's why I'm saying that when we know better, like we really need to do better. Bomanyanti, I need now to do a deep evaluation of how was my upbringing, bichi bye naitamu, bichi byanyizanga. No bitekayo out there, like you assess them bulungi and like kati kino nino kitereza, because you want to break patterns. Mental health is on the rise because of the patterns.
Okay.
We're not breaking patterns. You grow up from an abusive family, you enter a relationship, you also be abusive.
Because what you did.
You didn't break the pattern.
You didn't heal.
You didn't heal. I think I'm even glad that nowadays we have a lot of healing sessions, people that do emotional healing, coaching, like, of course, places you can go and just pour out your feelings and all that, because we've not been having those places.
Yes.
We've not been. We have people that are supporting each other and so many things. Then there is something I wanted to mention about that is really underrated. Because now we're emphasizing how do we invest in our minds?
Yes.
How do we deal with our mental health? Like invest in your mind as you invest in your money and all that. Tufayo nnyo kungulu, like
n'endabikayo n'ogula n'olugoye olupya n'akawoowo.
Ogula olugoye olupya, you do your nails, you make up your hair. Those some that do, there are some that even don't really mind. Ebyokungulu tubifaako. Remember the mental part is everything around you, what you see, what you hear, what you like, everything around you. That what you see is important, what you hear is important, everything is important. But I would give this very basic example of how to invest in our minds. Yeah. There is what we call order. Yeah. We usually tell people, okay, me personally, I usually say that you are as good as your mind. Whatever you're thinking of, whatever is in your head, that is who you are. Not how you've put on. Whatever it is in your head, and like people that are watching us now, what it is that is going through your head, that is who you are. That is the truth.
Yes.
Binebyo kungulu, it's a mask. But whatever is going on in your head, that is who you are. Yeah? That's why I'm like, mental health is like broad. What you see, what you hear, bichibyo uliriza, bichibyo laba, like all that. So enhancing our mental health, I feel like from the word go, we need to invest in our spaces. Spaces from where you sleep. Where you sleep, like from in the house. Kubanga osulotya enyumba eryetya ojja kuva ewaka ojje wano ku mulimu olowooze nti omulimu gwe gukunyiizizza, olowooze nti boosi muzibu nnyo, olowooze nti like b'okola nabo era be babye nnyo something. It's not about that sometimes.
Okay.
It is from home. So I feel like each one of us can reflect back home.
Yeah.
Reflect kati ekiyungu kiyitemu kiveemu. Tulako mu ddiiro. Ddiiro liveemu. Genda
mu lukuubo kale
tambula mu lukuubo abalina enkuubo olukuubo luveemu tunulako mu kinaabiro ekinaabiro kiveemu you go to where you sleep. So I want to first exclude these other areas tugende wennyini woosula. How is that place? Do you like it? Do you like where you sleep? Okay, we are imagining.
Yes.
Do you like where you sleep? If you don't like where you sleep, kiki ky'owulira nga kyetaaga okukyukamu in your bedroom, like the area where you are sleeping. Kiki ky'owulira kyetaaga okukyukamu? Because like I said, mental health is about even what we see, what we hear. Like our environment affects so much.
I've had people bagamba I have a routine. Work, home. Work, home. Tainaako any other activities zakola. Tatambula bana bagala nnyo okutambula, traveling and everything. Nti ye ewaka n'omulimu yensi ye.
Kati nabo kati mube encouraging to find hobbies. That is not enough. Like that is not enough. You can't have that life. It is not enough. You need exposure. You need to relate with other people. Anyway, chembade rachimbalaga mu kisenge. Bolaba in the outside world. Bolaba ebisenge by'abaana. Otera okulaba colors ze babateramu.
Omuwala bajjamu wa pink oba purple, then omulenzi bamuteeremu blue. Bamuteeremu cartoons ezo Spider-Man oba kwega bintu bya kisajja nnyo.
Do you see the lights? Wezifanana the lights?
Yes, I do.
You see the lights?
Yes.
Do you see the kind of order? A bit.
Waliwo obutabo omwana bw'alina okusoma, waliwo akatebe w'alina otuula akolere wakawe, we yeebaka, wa meditating and everything. So I feel like we need to copy the same. To be taken mu maka gaffe. Look at your bedroom. Which colors? It doesn't matter. Ne bwoba oli mu single room. Which colors do you have in the house? Kubanga for mental health, colors zikola kinene nnyo. Oh. They heal or they can like damage you. Colors. Balandlord balina kala emu gye baafuna gye batuteera mu nnyumba. You can talk to your landlord. Yensonga lwaki bw'otuuka mu ddwaliro ojasangayo white, pink, which colors? Ka green or ka green kuba ka blue. Read about those colors and ask yourself why. If you go in a hotel, wale sanze sokaza black or red or something. Thank you. Read about white. White and sleep. Like white bed sheets and sleep. Chokate fan twagala nnyo ki brown ekyo, ki grey. Kuba tekiguba mangu. Thank you. But that is already taking a toll on you. Kati nkulaga obuzibu gye buva. Kati tuleke bino nakula bwenti mampisa bubi nnyo. Kati essaawa eno kyoliko. Kiki ekyo kyoliko? Kyongera buzibu ku byaliwo edda oba like it's making it better. So okay, what I wanted to say that for your mental health, for you to invest in your mental health, you need to invest in where you sleep. Because where you are sleeping, your bedroom, it is like a bleeding, like it's studio. It births ideas. It is that place, it's a healing, it should be a healing environment. Yes. Because of your na oduse okakalu kanyokoze, it's where you find solace, it's where you find rest. Yes. Just imagine now going to resting, it's trouble there. The sheets are dirty. Once or inayo cases abana mlimu ebitabo, or inayo engato once wechitanda. Wajudde buli kimu amabafu byonna oterekeyo. Amabafu oterekeyo, ochaine engoye zote akozesa, like you like the room is suffocated. Just trust me 100% on this. Osobola kikola bova ku mulimo leero abatulaba gende wakotandika ofulumya ebintu mu kisenge. Ebiri wansi w'ekitanda obijjeyo. Like okay, start removing things. You will tell if you can. Ojja kuba wano ku digital talk obagambe I feel better. You will feel better 100%. Okay. And that thing is very biblical. Even God himself, God was the God of order. God expects us to have order because it enhances our mental health. So as you're cleaning your space, you're also cleaning your mind. Kubanga wobeera nga oyina ebintu ebikadde, things that connect you to past memories. They usually say maybe you've been in a relationship with someone yakuwa akagoye kono kyakaterese. Every time you think of the cloth, you think of the other person who was even toxic. Instead of like all those things kati bye bituletera okubanga we depressed, very stressed, almost stressed bambola kuba sina sente sina mulimo. There are those simple things. Yes. Yeah. So we need to, before the government comes in, we need to do something
being as us. Then also another thing, of course, like I said, we grew up from different backgrounds and we have different personalities. But you also need to learn to deal with people. You need to learn to be an accountable person. You need to learn. Thank you. You need to learn to be a responsible person.
Yeah.
How does it come to be responsible? To people that read the Bible, we see in the Bible of how different people didn't want to take responsibilities. Kubanga Allen tebamugambako, Gift tebamugambako, era jagamba sinze gundi. Like we do a shift blame, like a blame game or something like that. Kubanga tetwagala fe kuwulira nti nnenyezebwa. Yeah, so you always shift and shift and shift, or displace and all that. Kati gwene weteka mu kifonti. How can I say it?
Muzibu kubeera naye embeera zenzibu.
But we should know nti tetusobola kuba perfect, not at any one time. So bw'oba oli muntu nga gwe you expect perfection all the time, then you can't deal with people. Mentally they are going to break you down and you're also going to break them down. Yeah? So as we want to invest in our mental health, taking responsibility is very important. Bw'oba olina ekintu ky'okoze, say sorry.
Apologize.
That heals a lot. It will heal you, it will heal the other person. Let's try to always make time for things that we really love.
Yes.
If you say that I love cooking, make time for it. Be like, today I want to try this recipe. If you like watching movies, make time for it. And also you need to know, like I said, what you watch, all those kinds of things.
What you feed your mind with.
What you feed your mind is with. So sit down and be like, okay, I like movies. Which kind of movies give me life?
Yes.
You want to listen to music, do that, like do something that you like. So before we cry and be like, government, like, come, our mental health is at stake. What have you done?
Okay, let me thank Kamlegia Joseph Daraus for watching. He says, I don't act weird, but people say, I. Abantu bamugamba ali awa ali weird, embeera ze tezitegereka naye nga ate ye mu kulaba okukwe yeraba nga ali okay, yeraba nga ali fine. Then we have Nachiso Zetedi. Thank you so much for watching. Agamba, thanks for this show. It's so educative. Thank you, Nachiso, for also watching. Nabalala bali ku Facebook. I'm going to be reading some of the comments and some of the questions. Zemugenda okuweereza. Kakati tuli ku nsonga ya mental health. Otubulidde bingi nnyo. We twogerera abaana beetuga. I've had issues zensomyeko bazendabyeko. Omwana ng'agamba leko bukiiti bantwala ku ssomero lino naye saagalayo, bambuulinga naye maama wange tawuliriza oba tatange tawuliriza, because they don't have money, so they keep me in that school. When I was in primary, nali ku ssomero lirimu abaana babbuli. So what I did, because I was too small, I befriended them. But upon befriending them, nalabanga, of course, bibakola si birungi, but then you can't open your mouth because bagenda chuka at any point. Batandika okuattackinga gwe. How best do you advise parents when it comes to these kids babahandulinge batya era n'amasomero kiki kyegeetaaga okubanga gakola, because abaana bangi abafa because of issues ezituukawo mu masomero, abaana bababuulinga, abaana beekyaye, they just resort to drugs.
Okay, so I think nowadays drugs nyingi, yes. Addictions nyingi nnyo. We're using a lot of people are addicted to so many things, which is very unhealthy. But of course, bachikola as an escape route, like they're escaping from the reality.
Okay.
Afuna ekibuzaabuza. Just to run away from what the actual thing is. Simanyi, like, the better way I can bring it out. Yeah?
Kibonyezeza bamubuulinga. Naye ate okudduka ku ekyo kye abaana bamubuulinga. Either agenda kunoonyayo ekikoosi aba drugs oba batoloka ku masomero. Just yeebulize eyo.
Yes. So, tuyina behaviors ez'enjawulo. Ate behaviors zikola kinene nnyo ku bulamu bwaffe. So I've heard many people, of course, basobola okunenya family nti the mama takoze kimala, tata takoze kimala, tampadde budde takoze kino. Also oba osobola onenya essomero. like I essomero liri bweriti ne bweriti. But like nga bwe nkugambye initially nga tutandika, there are so many factors that come into play. Yeah, you've talked about the bullying. So someone to escape or to feel like they are also strong, ajja kunoonya ekintu ekisobola omuwa that confidence. Some of us have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. Ate ng'eyo evudde era like from home, definitely.
Nti buli weyogeranga nga bakusirisa, bakuteeka down.
Yeah, oba you seemed not to be important. Your views were not important. Nga gwe bw'oyogera batwala kyamulala. Yeah. The difference. But also, there can be a thing of me having higher expectations. Nti ono bw'aba muzadde wange, bw'aba ayina ssente, I expect ABCD. So my expectations are way up here. Naye ng'ate omuzadde tajja kunnyonnyola why he or she can't meet those expectations, even when they have the money. Naye nga gwe omwana, your expectations are up there. So if you don't meet those expectations, you'll find an escape route.
Yes.
But I've also talked about a bit of us having a low esteem, so we get into peers that will give us a sense of belonging, that will maybe give meaning to our lives. Yeah. Some of us, it is because we can't open up. We can't open up, not at all.
Yeah.
Just imagine you've been raped. How do you start telling people, your mother, your father, that have been ABCD? And then it is taking a toll on you. You get something, so the drugs, the alcohol and all that, yeah? You've talked about the suicide, where the suicide comes in. Suicide can come in from the different areas. It can come in maybe from the drugs. It can come in from the depression. It can come in. But also for the suicide, we say, usually there has to be something in the family. Like, if you trace back, you'll be like, there is someone that has ever done it. It can run in families. That's why you see back then, I think Uganda culture or something, something like that, such that it cut off from the family.
Yes.
But I don't know whether those things work. But yeah. What I know, it's you just have to go back and trace what was the cause of suicide. Because depression as depression, that's why I told you, I'm just depressed. That is a big thing. It's too big. Nti tuli kukifuulanga ekitayina maanyi, and yet yes, we're making it normal. And someone was telling me, well, mukwano gwe yamusindikira message nga amugamba they want to commit suicide. Mumune namudama naawe oba ofafa ffe tulinayo naffe ebitutawaanya olowooza gwalina ebizibu iweka. And this other person we alaba message agamba negwe mbadde ndowooza njagala naye tanjagala. Just imagine telling that person that already when they're at a verge of wanting to lose their lives. So that is just like abanga is just a bullet yebadebulako. You get it? Yeah. So us going through so many things, abana baitambi to bingi from schools. The competition is so high. Social media is taking a toll. There are a lot of fantasies here, and we are with it 24/7.
In relation to also the government coming on board, tuina technology, tuina social media apps nyingi nnyo ezimeruseewo ezitugaidinga ku butya bwe tusobola okwetereza in case we have mental issues or mental problems. Emikutu gino gikola nga gwe because kati gwe field ogibaddemu, this is like okwekolako check up no concluding nga notandika okwewa eddagala, because that's what we do. Ezimu apps temuzitulagirira mwega. But the first question, do these apps work?
For mental health? Yes. Yeah, they do. They work.
Nekatandika tukola self-medication. Netwejanjaba.
Of course, we don't really encourage the self-medication because you see, like even what I've talked about here, it's not tebiwedde you're like I've just tackled a few things
atenga bingi
unless you've gotten time with a medical personnel, and then they start taking you into details of now for you this is your problem, because we are different people. It's not one size fit all. It's not like the way I'll handle you, it's not the same way I'm going to handle Joseph, the way I'm going to handle myself. It's not the same way I should handle you. We are different people, exposed to different things, having different beliefs and values. Like, we are different. The same thing, even you've talked about the substance, people that use substances and drugs. You say like we have all the rehabs and all those things, but it's not that everyone needs a rehab.
Just around not
that everyone needs a rehab. So like we have to just know that every person has to be managed differently. Differently. So social media, the apps can work, but not entirely. You can't depend on the app and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to be here, read about depression, then I'll know where I fall. It's not enough. You need someone to do a thorough assessment, take thorough history, because as you're reading, the app is not going to take your history. But if we are together, I'll even know from your tone. When you're talking, I'll know from your tone, your facial expression. I think, okay, this is what we should know. That if someone that is into psychiatry, they can tell just like looking at you. No, I'm not. No, like from appearance, I can, like you can start from the appearance, because that says a lot about the person. Okay. Because now for me the colors are important. The colors you're putting on in mental health, they speak a lot. The colors you'll put on, and I'll know this person is in this kind of
situation.
This situation or this situation. The colors do a lot, from the ones you have on the nails, like everything. Your hair, like everything. No, yeah, but so that's why like you need to go into like see a medical personnel such that they can do a very good, assessment to establish what the problem is. Then these ones can be just an added advantage, but not like entirely relying on them.
Kalyango Musa Mutesa, thank you so much for watching. Agamba, that's why we still believe that beating children is the correct way to upbringing our children. Until we acknowledge that beating us was a lack of knowledge by our parents to handle ways of solving conflicts, we will continue doing whatever our parents did wrongly. I've had my mother say, so basically that's how parents do it. That's Ayongedeko Nagamba. There is a lot of self-medication in Uganda as well due to untreated mental disorders. Advising. But anyway, how best do we bring in government? Mental health. Government ina kuyingira mu kyenkana because ogambe nga government tenna jaffe tusooka era otuwadde ffe bye tulina okukola. Naye kati government kikyetaaga okubanga ekola okulaba nti ensonga eno eya mental health eteekebwa ku mwanjo n'efuulibwa ensonga ey'amaanyi mu ggwanga.
What the government should do? I think one, ngenda kutandikira ku bantu already abali I was going to say exposed, people that are already sick, that are already diagnosed. There are so many of us that are sick, but we're just not in hospitals. I think, was it last year, but one or last year when New Vision brought out certain statistics of the 14 million Ugandans that are sick.
Yes.
And apparently in Uganda we have one psychiatric hospital.
Butabika.
And it's full to capacity. It should be full. Yes. It should be full. If you're going to the different centers, like hospitals, of course they have psychiatric units. Of course the ministry has tried to put psychiatric units there. But
Techimala.
Techimala, because of course the hospital has other, like, the physical condition. So I feel like a lot of energy is put onto that, that we overlook this other, the psychiatric, the mental part of it. And you'll find in some hospitals, of course, they also have counseling departments, like they have a counselor there, but they don't usually have maybe a psychiatrist or a mental specialist there. They don't. They maybe stop on a counselor and all that. Or maybe probably after a doctor is seeing the patient and diagnosing, they can refer them to either go to Butabika or,
Yes.
And so I would ask the government if they can maybe put more psychiatric hospitals. Yeah. Okay, that is to people that are already, you know, sent into hospitals and all that. Okay. And of course, I would also ask the government to address the stigma that is around mental health, because if the government comes out and they do talk about it like they did with COVID, there was a lot of awareness going on. Yes. If the government can put in a lot of like effort, of course I know there are resources needed, money and all that. If that can be availed and a lot of sensitization and awareness is done, there are certain mental disorders that can be curbed, like that can be stopped before they progress to someone actually getting into a mental hospital. Because it's just a matter of knowing, like some of the things we've talked about. You know that, okay, it's important to know when I'm dealing with a pregnant woman, because now you don't want them after giving birth, they get into depression or they get into psychosis. We've had cases of omukyala amaze okuzaala kana ayagala katta oba ayagala kalya or something.
We've had postpartum depression. We have the peripheral psychosis, like someone after giving birth they become psycho.
Like yes, they become psycho. So it is because of what they went through during the pregnancy. You get it. So you get to know that if I'm dealing with a pregnant woman, when you know more quarter. So if the government can add in effort into awareness and sensitization, I know tegenda kujam families is affected. Ketugamba boti wabokuza omwana, omwami mwise boti, mchala mwise boti, ababosa abakozi mubayise bwebati, you know, like it might not break down those different things, but of course people that are already into the profession can go around and help us break them down, like talk about mental health in the workplace, mental health in schools, mental health in families, like in the different areas, because it's all different. Yeah, but it can gear, like it can put more emphasis onto awareness that actually mental health disorders are like to the like they have reached, I don't know how I can say it, because right now tulina endwadde ezabulijjo musujja, sukali and all those kinds of things, but you know even that is causing more mental health issues. Yes. Someone dealing with someone that has a chronic disease, I've seen people that have dealt with their relatives that have had cancer for a long time, that have had those HIV. Yes, and after eventually maybe probably that person has died. Do you know what it means? Like, do you know now what this person who has been a caretaker, what they are going through? It is a lot. So I feel like even the government should put up more rehabilitation centers. Of course in Ebitamiiza there is a rehabilitation, but I feel like we need more, because there are some of us that can't afford the rehabilitation centers that are private because of the money. And yet if the government has rehabilitation centers that can accommodate us that don't have that a lot of money, it can help. It can even be helpful. Rehabilitation centers are known for substances and drugs, but there are also other behaviors that need to be rehabilitated, that need, you know, just imagine omuzadde akugamba. One time I was in a salon and this lady is like, omwana wange yantama mpulira njagala namutta. Like she said, oli omwana simwagala, kyokka first born wange simwagala, saagala mulabako, mpulira ne bwafa sirumwa. Like the lady was saying those things out of pain, nga n'amazigo ogalaba. And I'm like, can you imagine how mentally disturbed, like how, like how her mental state is? Like this lady might be really been traumatized, or like she's mentally not okay. So I even didn't want to concentrate on the child, but my focus was on the mother. Your mother saying that she doesn't.
But due to time, mchala gift, oba musawo gift. Njagala owe abalabi bange akatalekeka ke tutakoonyeeko naye nga kakulu nnyo ku nsonga eno ya mental health mu dakiika ng'emu oba bbiri.
Okay, I think bingi bye tutakoonyeeko naye nina kye njagala okwenfasizinga ekyokwefaako ffe nga ffe. Twetaaga okweyisa. We need to treat ourselves a certain way omuntu omulala gy'atayinza tutreatinga. Tuleme okulinda abantu abalala otuyisa obulungi.
naye nga ffe
nga tetweyisa bulungi. Okweyisa obulungi kitegeeza mpisa. Okay, empisa is what? Yeah. Like empisa nga bwe bakyogera.
Kaweke katono nnyo ku kinene.
Yeah, okweyisa obulungi ntegeeza treating yourself so well. Treating yourself. How do you treat yourself? You treat yourself by being careful of the things you do, the things you say, the things you think about, the people you relate with. You should love yourself so much not to entertain certain things. Yeah, we've seen people that complain about certain jobs. They complain from day one, and then you're like, but if you don't have a solution, there is nothing you can do about that job, then you because now you're also becoming toxic for the company.
Productive.
Thank you. Boss chair and yagadde omuntu complaining buli saawa. And then they will tell you, no, it's because I want the money, I don't have an option. Money should never be a reason as to why you go through hell. Money should never be the reason. Because at the end of that day, you'll get all the money but still be messed up the more. So you need to love yourself than any other person. You need to set boundaries that no one is going to set for you. And those boundaries, of course, they should be health boundaries. Yeah? If we say that invest in your mind, invest in your mind, invest in love. Eat right. Make sure you get enough sleep. Of course, the phones are here to stay, the social media, the data and all that. Take time off. It's very okay to take time off. It's not that everything that comes here, you need to watch it. It's not that you have to go in every place, like maybe Kugambi tugenda wano waliyo vibe and all that. Not that every place is for you. Yeah? Where you stay in your home, try to create an environment that is good for you. Tolinda kumala genda ku picnic or ku retreat or obyegombeleli. One time I was talking to married people and I was telling them, you guys, when you go out in a hotel, how do you feel? I don't know if the ladies was like, of course we feel good, the hotel room is nice and all that. And I'm like, why don't you do that in your home? Yeah. Why do you wait to pay for it and yet you can have it in your home? So the things that you can do for you that can make you feel good, yeah, please do them. Okay. Nebo chipa chetagisa kuteeka mu mutwalo waliwo ebimu nga tebyetaaga sente. Cleaning your home might not need money. You might not have all the fancy kinds of things we talk about social media, and you don't need all that. You just need basic things. And also the expectations shouldn't be so high on yourself. Okay. Of course, other people can expect so much, but for you, don't expect so much because you know yourself. And also maybe lastly, let's take time to know us. Please take time to wansi and do that almost on a weekly basis, or if that is too much, after 3 months. Wetuuze wansi ogambe kati biki byenjagala biki byessaagala. I've been relating with this person for this time. We've been friends. How has she impacted my life? How has he impacted my life? Nkosezza atya mu bulungi n'embubi. Do those evaluations. Kuba ebyo ebintu bye tutatunulamu bituleetera okutabuka. Feno jeno mu community ne tukulabanga omuwala tategeerekeka ali weird omuwala. But you've had a pile of things, you've had a lot of hatred amongst your friends, jealousy, or secretive, you don't have anyone to share with. Like, you've made your life a certain way that is now it's showing up. And for mental health, it will pile and pile and pile, but trust me, it will come out.
Okay, thank you so much, musawo gift. Kuba nti munango sharing a lot about mental health. It's a lesson to all of us. Twekolemu omulimu munnange tuyige tunoonye okumanya naye ate bw'obwanga ogenze ku apps zino oba ogenze ku search engines ez'enjawulo no searching about mental health by'osomyawo si bye byenkomeredde si bye bikwata kwabula weetaaga omukugu asobola okubuulira nti oli mu mbeera bweti ne bweti era weetaaga okuba ng'otereeza mu kino na kino naye ate ebintu ebisinga bijja kutereera nga tutandikidde ku ffe ewaka wafaanana watya wasemba ddi okugula ekintu ekirungi mu kisenge kyo kale wasemba ddi okusula ku masuuka amalungi aganyirira so bwe weeinvestingamu Mumbejja Farida tatuga nti fe yingini bw'oba gwe yingini eyo ogikolako service era otwala kadde ki okutuula wansi ne weefumiitiriza noga okay ndi bwenti ne bwenti ekikula kyange kiri bwekiti ne bwekiti naye ate nsobola okukyusaamu wano na wano oba bino nsobola bigumiikiriza bino sisobola bigumiikiriza. Let us learn to say no where necessary. Bwe baba bakugamba ekintu nga kikunyigiriza gamba nti nedda weeyogereko bw'oteyogerako tewali muntu mulala agenda kufaako. Ne badde discussion nongi nnyo kansubire naawe olina ekyenjawulo kyogiyizeemu to all our viewers ababaddeko nga bali mu kulaba nsusizaamuko ku budde because waliwo akabadde katalekeka akabadde alina okuba nga atubuulira but gwe abadde alaba nkusaba sharinga video eno obe nga ate nno munnange naawe obaako omulala gw'oyamba nga bw'oteeka amaanyi mu kunoonya ssente bw'oba oteeka amaanyi mu kulaba nti obwongo bwo buli mu mbeera ennungi oba buli mu mbeera eyeeyagaza. Ne gavumenti guno omulanga gwammwe okuba nti mukola ekyetaagisa okulaba nti ensonga ya mental health ate tugiteeka ku mwanjo nnyo kubanga abantu kati bagendera ddala mu maaso n'okubanga batawaanyizibwa issues eziva ku kubeera nti tebali mentally okay naye ng'ate ebimu bisobola okubeera nga bikwatibwako. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful day. Kansabe omutonzi akkirize omulundi omulala ate nomunnange mukyala gift be ng'ate tumufuna ayongere okubanga alambulula bingi betutakoonyeko because tugenze tukona ku kino nakiri naye ate tujja kufuna oba oliawo emiramu egy'enjawulo gye munaabamuweereza ate okubanga munaye tumusaba akomewo ayongere okugirambululako. Mental health munnange ekintu kikulu nnyo kyewetaaga okubanga owa obudde. To the viewers and the entire team gye nkoze naye olunaku olwaleero, thank you so much. Kambagaliza olunaku olungi tusinkana omulundi ogujja mweraba.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.